Which whiskey region makes better sherried whiskey? Highlands or Speyside? Time to find out. Thank you guys once again for kindly joining me on a versus challenge on McIntyre's malts. In the blue corner on your right, the Tamdhu 15 once again up against, in the green corner on your left, the GlenDronach 15 Revival. Let's start with a few specs on each of these whiskies and then we'll get to the nose and follow with the palate. In terms of specs, these two are pretty much neck and neck. The only real difference being that GlenDronach is in the Highlands region, albeit very, very close to Speyside. The Tamdhu 15 is 46% ABV. It is natural color. It does not say if it is chill filtered or not. Sometimes in the realm of 46% ABV, a whiskey isn't chill filtered. And then we have the GlenDronach 15 Revival that is also 46% ABV, also natural colored, and now no longer states that it is non-chill filtered whiskey. This is as close you can get in terms of specs and stats for a comparison whiskey challenge. In Australia, at the time of purchase, both of these bottles also cost me the same amount, being $150 Australian. The GlenDronach is still easily accessible at that price point. The Tamdhu, however, is getting a little bit harder to find and is starting to be available in the realm of $175. So I've poured a dram of both of these whiskies and let them sit in the glasses for about 15 minutes now with tasting caps on. So you can see here, I'm sure you're detecting this on the camera as well as I am with the naked eye, that the GlenDronach here on your left is a touch darker. Moment of truth. I think I'm going to start this nosing with the GlenDronach Revival on your left. Oh. Very aromatic. A nice combination of sweetness. The leather notes are there. Tobacco. Sourdough. The GlenDronach says that it's matured in Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso casks, but it comes across as more of a dominant Oloroso influence. Slight touch of passion fruit on the nose just then. Lovely nose. Tamdhu 15 on the nose. Ah, different. The concentration with the tasting cap on started to give me those sort of citrus fruit aromas, and then now it's eased back into oak, raisins, fresh bread, plums. It's a slight difference in that this is a sweeter nose and a more subdued, a little more, not muted, but not as vibrant or bold on the nose on the Tamdhu 15. Let's do a nosing side by side. The GlenDronach has way more character on the nose. Perhaps it's lemon on the citrus note here, surprisingly. Almost like a lemon meringue. There's like the pie crust is there, but that citric note comes through, so it kind of gives that combination together and reminds me of a lemon meringue. Ah, the GlenDronach is way more grapes now. Purple grapes. More of a juicy sweetness. We're talking the plums are here. Time to now taste these whiskies on my palate. Let's start with the Tamdhu 15 on your right. Slanjava. Lovely. Very prominent tobacco notes. Fresh cut cigar. The bread's coming out now. Furniture polish. A little bit of acidity. Lots of good oak influence. Sultanas now. Finish is carrying very well. A nice contrast with a dry finish but a sweet mid-palate. Wonderful whiskey. Onto the GlenDronach 15 on the palate. Slanjava. More rounded, much more balanced and integrated on the GlenDronach. Starts sweet, then you get the spicy elements come through. Slight hints of pepperiness, almost virgin oak-esque. Bread notes again. It's more of a, I don't know if polished is the right word, but in terms of everything being meshed and well melded together, if that makes sense. The GlenDronach is very pleasing, but I'm getting less discernible flavors. A lovely sweetness on the sides of my mouth. The finish appears longer on the Tamdhu. My palate leads me to believe that the Tamdhu has a drier influence, perhaps more Oloroso casks, whereas the GlenDronach tells me on the label that it is both Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez. I can taste more of a balance between those two in terms of a dry and sweet harmony. Let's go now. Final nosing, the final sip of each. GlenDronach 15. Very pleasing. Simple isn't the word, but so rounded. It's all there, but nothing jumps out and takes the center stage. Tamdhu 15. Again, that lemon meringue is there. More fresh citrus fruit on the Tamdhu, and the GlenDronach has more of the dried, sweet, sticky fruits. The nose on the GlenDronach 15 appeals to me more, but I appreciate and respect the nose on the Tamdhu 15. All right, the finish, beginning this time with the GlenDronach 15 on your left. Slanjava. Perfect example of a great sherried whiskey. Lots of character, there's sweetness, the spice comes through, enough bite, enough of the spirit character still shining through on this one. Tamdhu 15 now on your right. Final sip and finish on my palate. Cheers. Very well crafted. It has a little more bite in terms of how the citrus type note translates from the nose onto the palate. Perhaps more spirit driven is where that's coming from. If you're a sherry lover and you've got $150 that you want to spend on a whiskey and you can get the Tamdhu still in that range, you're not gonna be disappointed with either of these whiskies. I've made a decision. The Tamdhu has a little more complexity in what it offers on the palate. There's a little bit more diversity in the layering of the flavors and aromas. The GlenDronach is a perfect example of what a sherried whiskey should be. Given my liking towards a sweeter PX influence on a whiskey, what I would like to sit with and take some time with, I would lean to the GlenDronach 15 Revival as the winner of today's Versus Challenge. I hope that you've enjoyed this one, and if you want some great whiskey content outside of the videos, make sure you head down into the description on the video now and sign up to the Single Malt Monthly newsletter, and I'll catch you on the next McIntyre's Malts. Slanjava.